Okay, and we're here today with Jackey Raye Neyman Jones. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Doing wonderful, doing wonderful. I have been following you for, it seems like almost half my life now. I
Oh
got it.
no. Am I that old?
Well, I think I am. That's the
Oh.
problem. I was introduced to you through the movie Manos, and that got introduced to that through MST3K, and then I read your book, Growing Up with Manos, and I
Right.
realized that there's a rich history there, and you are possibly the best person to tell it. And
I'm just about the only person left to tell it at this point. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, my dad was
well,
the
it's
master.
miraculous that you, being as young as you were, you had such a wealth of knowledge and firsthand from your own family.
Yeah, well, I'm an artist like my dad was, and very observant, and that to me was the best summer of my childhood. I adored my dad, and I loved being involved in anything he was involved in. And since Manos was really his artwork, all the props and costumes were made by, well, my dad did all the props, my mom sewed the costumes, and I do have clear memories of them laying out that fabric and putting the red hands on the robe. And I remember them making the wives' costumes, and my mom made my dress too, the little Debbie dress. Even Torgo's costume, that was my dad's welding coveralls for his studio.
I think the most touching part was when you actually said in the book that it was like a family movie for you, which it literally was, but you
Yes.
may be the only person who would think of it that way, and that really spoke to me. I don't think I'll ever forget that.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I like to say that. It occurred to me once. It is. It's like a family movie to me. And I mean, I have to tell you, I go to a counselor. I'm in therapy.
Hmm.
And she just told me, oh, on our last appointment, it just kind of startled me in a way. She said, "Well, Jackie, you have to admit you had a very weird childhood." And I had to stop for a minute and go, "Yeah, I guess I did." I'm always trying to downplay it and say, "Well, everybody had stuff," which is
Hmm.
true. But yeah, my family was pretty odd, and then we were in an odd time and place.
That's a weird moment, and you're not the first person who have said that they had that realization that this wasn't normal, this wasn't everybody else. And when you
Hmm.
when you wrap your hand around that, it takes a minute, and
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
never the same afterward.
yeah. But my dad was so creative. My mother was a teacher and an educator, and my dad, well, he was executive director of the South El Paso Boys Club right on the border, but he was an actor and an artist, and I just grew up in a very creative environment.
And your creativity now it's palpable. I see you're instructing people on painting, and you're writing, and both personal and just getting your thoughts out there. You're philosophizing, and
Hmm.
it's just great to follow for whatever reason.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm looking at different ways to get things out there because I'm not only an artist, but PTSD and ADD and all those uh, all those adjectives that I have so many ideas that it's hard to pin myself down. And it's amazing that I accomplish what I do, the way I bounce around. But yeah, I'm just hitting this place right now where I see myself writing a lot more. I've
Hmm.
tested the waters a little bit, and besides my book, and the response is really nice. I mean, not just nice, but I feel like I'm touching people in a way that I want to with my art or with anything. It's symbolic, and it's spiritual, and it's deep, and it's great when other people can get a sense of it and it inspires them or helps them in some way, even if they can't articulate it.
Fantastic. Do you feel that mostly with the painting, or is it the writing really starting to take over that?
Well, when I do the writing, yeah, I mean, I've been writing most of my life, and I find that it's very interesting that just recently I found a couple of notebooks from my first ones of
Wow.
poetry and writing from when I was like 13 to 16 years old. It's heavy stuff. I mean, those were dark times for me as a kid. I was a suicidal kid for 5 years, 6 years, 13 to 19 years old. I was very depressed and suicidal, and yeah, it was a challenge. So writing was one of my outlets, and it's really interesting to see it now. I've found those books in the past and looked at them, but they were hard to read. But now I'm at a new place in life. It's interesting because I'll be 60 years old on my birthday in July, and kind of feeling this new sense of things, this new freedom and creativity. I don't know. I just can't wait to see what's next. I'm glad that Manos has still got its fan following out there in the world, and I really hope to do a lot more events. I've been a guest at a number of conventions and screenings, and I just love it. I mean, I love talking to people and engaging with people, so any chance I get.
I greatly regret that I haven't been at one of those conventions because I've kept my eye out, but you and I are just never in the same state at the same time.
Yeah, well, I haven't done too many of them, but I'm definitely open. I think I'm ready to put myself out there maybe a little bit more for next year. I'd love to go to a few. So, anybody listening, hello, just get hold of me.
Absolutely. And so where could somebody get a hold of you if they have a mind to?
My email is good. It's Jackey Raye. It's Jackey and then RAYE at msn.com. And you can see my artwork on my new website. I'm building it now, but there's quite a bit of my art on there now. And then that's Jackey's Arts. And again, the Jackey is EY, so jackeysarts.com.
Love that site. I love watching your paintings. All this will be in the show notes, so if somebody wants to browse your art, possibly make an offer, they'll definitely have the option on our website here.
Excellent. And I do Manos related things as well. Like I said, my dad made the costumes or the artwork and props in the film, and my mom sewed the costumes, and they designed those together. But I've made master's robes. I've made 15 of them so far, and they're all signed and numbered. I sew in a label that I sign, and it's numbered. So I've made 15 of them. And wow. I make them, I like to say I make them just the way my mama made the original, with French seams. It's 100% heavyweight cotton broadcloth. And yeah, they're really nice. And also I've made the Togo staff, the hand that Togo carries. Just like my dad, because I was there, I watched him make the original. He cut it with his cutting torch, and it's cut out of cold rolled steel. So I've got a few of those. I just haven't figured out what I want to sell them for, though.
Well, I mean, don't sell yourself short, because it's to have something like that made with such care by the person who knows what they're talking about. I'd be honored to hold it, much less wear it or have it.
Yeah. Well, I've sold a couple of those Togo staffs, but then someone tried to get into a con with it, and they weren't allowed to because it's made out of steel. Yeah. So I was wondering, I'm going to look into this. What about 3D printing? Could I 3D print it out of plastic? Would it be able to go into a convention then? Or, yeah, I don't know.
In some cases, a convention, depends on the one, but they might ban anything that could be called a weapon, in
Like a
which case,
stick.
yeah, so it's a
Yeah,
stick.
five and a
Um,
half foot stick. Yeah, that's not a good start.
and some would just say, well, as long as it's, doesn't have sharp edges, it's okay. It
Yeah.
really depends on the area.
Yeah, the hand, even if it was plastic, it would look pretty dangerous,
Hmm.
you know. Well, anyway, just an idea. Like I said, I bounce around. I got a lot of ideas.
You really do, and I feel like that sometimes myself. I like to draw. I like to write. I do the podcast now and do videos, and I'm like, would I be better off just doing one thing? And you're no. I thank you, thank you.
No,
I love
you
that shaking
wouldn't.
your head there.
Well, and I'll give you a piece of advice, and anybody listening that is relating to this. A long time ago, I decided to stop trying to stop myself and trying to get back onto task. And the days where I just allow myself to bounce around, then I keep going back to those tasks. It might take me several times, but it turns out I get a lot more done in the day when I just allow myself to flow the way that I flow. It all gets done by the end. It might not all happen in one shot, but it gets done. So
Wow,
the kinder you are to yourself, the easier it gets.
got to keep that in mind. And that's really kind of what I was looking to get at when I got you on the podcast. Is I just wanted to see how you managed to do it all, and because you know one day you took a little trip, and the next you get this amazing blog post about all the stuff in your life nobody knew about that you're so honest
Hmm.
about, and yet
Thank
you're
you.
you're dealing with heavy duty stuff. I'm not shortchanging that. I'm not sugarcoating it, but you look at it, and all I'm here is this person sees value in this. This person's not seeking pity, or they're not seeking pat on the back. They just want to show the world this was worth something.
Hmm. Thank you. Yeah, that was my intention.
Good.
Just being
Good, good.
honest, like you said, I'm not looking for pity. I don't want pity, for anything. I don't have anything to be pitied for. I have such blessings in life. I just want to live in the moment and appreciate them, and that all that darkness from the last couple years is lifting. Things are changing, and part of that is because I'm able to be honest with people. If I can be honest out in the world, it's easier to be honest to myself, if that makes sense. Then you can examine things
Hmm.
and move on.
Yeah. And you're all about putting things out in the world, even literally when you decorate the little stones and just leave them for whoever to
Yeah,
find them. That's such a
yeah.
great idea.
Oh, I just saw this post the other day. I'm so excited. Next time I go to the store, I'm getting glow in the dark paint. Two
Oh,
different people sent me this post of large rocks lining a driveway, but painted like with pointillism, the dots with glow in the dark paint. So it's beautiful in the daytime, but then it glows at night. I'm like, oh, hell yeah, I'm doing that. Oh, yes. So look, now I have another project. Oh my God.
well, I mean, that's something you could just do over your morning coffee when you get your head together, and then it's
Uh,
just a neat idea. It's a little stone that just
no, these are
some.
big. These
Oh,
are big rocks.
okay.
They're like lining your, you don't want to run into it with your car kind of rock.
Ah,
But yeah, yeah, it'd be fun to paint the little ones in glow in the dark paint. If somebody's out there at night, it might freak them out. Like, because why would you be in the park at night, for instance?
yeah. Whoever's in the park at night probably isn't looking for rocks, to be fair.
Yeah, they're probably not, but a little glowing rock might catch their attention.
So, is there anything you want to give us a hint as to what's coming next? Or,
Oh, well, there's some ideas out there. A friend of mine is working on a idea of a web series with my character, present day, and but I can't really say anything about it yet
Fair enough.
because but I think that if this thing is gonna work, there's gonna be a fundraising, probably
Hmm.
Indiegogo. So at that point, everybody will hear about it. And I'm just working on teaching more art classes and getting my art out there more. I do a lot of reclaimed things. I so that I don't become a hoarder because I would collect old doors and windows for a long time. I'd see them on burn piles or up against fences, and I just couldn't stand to think of them being destroyed. So I started collecting them. And then, like the old panel doors, I used my skill saw and cut them into panels. And then I enhanced the outer wood and the center part. I put Venetian plaster and then my art, which you can see on my website. And I love it. It has so much character. And so my studio is just full of these panels. And it's time for me to get to work, do some art shows. Um, I'm looking into getting into some galleries and how I can do that because I'm ready. I'm ready.
Is there a particular one you're very fond of? Because I have a preference, but I would just like to hear it from you first.
What, galleries or
Oh,
the,
your artwork.
oh, my art? It changes. I mean, I definitely have some favorites, but and not all my stuff's on the website yet. But what's your favorite?
The octopus. Every
Uh,
time you do an octopus, I just love it.
that's very interesting because like I said earlier, my work is very symbolic,
Hmm.
and a lot of times it affects your subconscious, and it comes from my subconscious. And I couldn't figure out why I started painting octopus. All of a sudden, octopus started coming to me and demanding to be painted. So I painted at least, it was the third one that I said, well, what do they symbolize? I mean, what do they mean out there in the world? And so I started doing my research, and it was very interesting because it completely reflects my life. I was feeling kind of disoriented and going through a lot of changes, and octopus are grounded, but they're grounded on the bottom of the ocean and they're pulled by the waves and the currents, and they're very intelligent with these large heads, and so they're intuitive, and they know how to hide in plain sight. They can disguise themselves. It's but if you look them up or read about them on, I think it's on my website, but it was just amazing to me how much they reflected what I was going through. And then I started looking around my house and realized that at least 4 of the rooms in my house were painted blue. I painted them in the last few years. So now I'm changing the color again. It's time to change. And then I thought one day, I go, man, that's deep, right? Then I
Yeah,
cracked up. I cracked up because, of course, it's deep. We're talking about the ocean.
yeah. You made your own personal ocean before you even knew it.
Right? Right? But it's interesting how many people have been really drawn to it. Not only was I painting them and drawn to them, I was also feeling almost physically repelled, like some people are about spiders and things. They were like freaking me out while I was painting them. Isn't that odd?
Well,
So I have a few more octopus coming. They're gonna be coming. More crows. I love the crows. And then lately, a couple jellyfish. I don't know what that's about. I think that's about transition, but I'm not sure. We'll figure it out.
well, jellyfish are almost eternal in some ways, so they've seen it come and go.
Wow, you're right. I just read something about, yes. Oh, yeah, that's interesting. Okay, that makes sense. See what I mean? Art is subconscious. Color, all these things. So it's yeah, I'm in a good world. Just got
I
to
can tell.
make a living at it, you know.
Sure.
It's not easy.
Well, I am going to keep promoting your stuff and making sure the word about you gets out there because, like I said, you are a fantastic person to follow.
Oh,
Your stories about the old movie, the new paintings, and everything in between, absolutely worth keeping an eye on.
thank
Um,
you.
you're quite welcome. I'm going to let you go while we still have good audio and video because it's coming in and out. But
Okay.
I'd be glad to have you back anytime. This has been a real treat talking to you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, let's catch up in a few months. There's a lot more coming. New
Absolutely.
stuff.
Let's do that. Let's do that. And again, if I'm ever at a
Okay.
convention, I am definitely coming up and talking to you.
You better.
Okay. Take good care.
All right, you too.
Bye.
Bye.